Welcome back to the Rebuilt Parish Podcast. On today's episode, we've got special guest Gail Rayos. Now, Gail was once on the other side of coaching. She was a pastoral associate at one of our partner parishes and had been with us since the beginning. Well, when it was time for Gail to retire, guess what? She joined the Rebuilt team, and now she's turning around using what she's learned, and she's helping to coach other parishes. I can't wait for you to hear just how much Gail learned from coaching, what it looked like when her parish started, and how things have transformed and evolved. We'll see you inside the episode. Well, hey there, Gail. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today.
Oh, hi, Melissa. It's so good again to be with you.
Well, I'm excited about this conversation because we both have something a little similar. We both worked in the parish and then came to serve at Rebuilt. And so I'm excited for them to get to hear your story today.
Well, thank you so much. It has been a beautiful journey, and I love being able to talk about that journey because I hope it encourages others on parish staff. So I'm really all about boosting up parish staff members.
For sure. Now, Gail, before you became a coach here at Rebuilt, you spent many years serving at St. Mary Magdalene in Altamont Springs, Florida. Can you tell us a little bit about your role there and what parish life was like when you first began working there?
Sure. So I think I'm also like a lot of parish staff members. My story at St. Mary Magdalene actually began as a parishioner, and there's some things that excited me about the parish that got me involved. To be honest, I first got involved as a parish mom because I wanted to see what was going on in my kids' school, and then I transitioned to parish council and parish leadership, and then I was so blessed 7 years ago when my professional calling meshed with an opening at the parish, and I was able to join the team as their pastoral associate. And so that's a lot like what Rebuilt has with Tom at Nativity, but it's basically the chief of staff to the pastor. And what was wonderful about that role is my capacity, that my interest in being able to work with all of the ministries. And so it was mission effectiveness, which really aligns well with everything that Rebuilt is asking of those who are working with them and their coaches. How can we be effective ministers to the mission? So I did that for 7 years and through a couple of pastor transitions, and it was a beautiful opportunity for me to grow in many different ways.
Oh, such an incredible position. That was my role as well in my parish. And Gail, what you shared, you're absolutely right. That's what we hear in the book Rebuilt, that a lot of the best staff members start out first as parishioners, then as volunteers, and then moving into staff roles. And you're just a beautiful example of how that can happen and how you can really make an impact in your parish.
It really, I look back now at that and what I'm doing now and how, my faith itself just quadrupled. Yes, I know a lot more about how the Catholic Church works inside and outside, and there's a lot there. But it's been just a perfect growth time for me and my family. And I can't say enough about that.
Oh my gosh, for sure. Now let's talk about when your parish first considered coaching with Rebuilt. We know that a lot of times parishes have hesitations or concerns. What were some of those that maybe you had before you started the coaching journey?
So I'm going to go back a little bit before coaching.
Oh, yeah, let's hear it.
When Rebuilt and Nativity decided to move into what we are doing now as coaching, wow, that just opened up the universe for our parish, and I know for other parishes. But our parish, way back to 2013, to the Matter Conference, that was my first intersection.
Okay, I didn't realize that.
And we had a pastoral associate there, if I could say her name, Lois Losi, who's now in the Diocese of St. Pete, who worked with our pastor and brought a big team there. And we were so inspired that was in a fall conference. And I love telling this story. 4 of us on the plane. You can only sit 3 across the seeds. We planned our first message series for Advent in October because we were so excited about everything that we heard at the conference, and most especially about bringing the parish together. And so we said, we're going to bring this to our pastor, and we hope he likes it. And he did. And so we kind of used what we learned from 2013 at every conference leading up to that. And so then when we were very familiar, read all the books, to be honest, and I give this tip when I'm coaching or teaching with Rebuilt, is to give various books to different ministry teams. Our Parish Finance Council got church money. Our small group people got that. I mean, just the depth of things you can learn by reading through those experiences. But let me fast forward to Rebuilt. Prior to COVID, we were already working on our mission, our vision, our values. We were already doing many things. And then COVID hit. And then we kind of threw out some of the things we were already doing from our mission, vision, values perspective, because the world changed instantly. And so that was about the same time that Rebuilt was coming out as its own separate entity. And we were invited, and we were so honored to be invited to be one of the first parishes to be coached. But I remember the conversation we had. We said, we've had a long-time relationship. We're already tried small groups and doing them. We have a great welcome team and a welcome desk, and our music ministry is pretty darn good, we thought. And we were already doing message series. So, what can we get out of this? And so we realized, though, we took the time to say, we've started all these things, but have we really connected them all? And so we said, let's give it a try. Why not? And, wow. What we were able to do, having little pieces working in the parish, reconnect at a time most important for parishes to be able to serve their people and to be renewed around the post-COVID was an amazing step. But at first we were like, well, what can we possibly learn that fits here? And we had no idea. You just got to do it. We had no idea until we stepped in.
Well, Gail, I think that's a thought that many parishes have, right? They have come to conferences. They have read all of the books. They come to all of the free workshops. They listen to the podcast. What more could I possibly learn? How could this possibly help? And you shared it beautifully. They help you connect all of the dots. Your coach helps you connect all of the dots and then build on everything that you've done. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Now, I'd love to know, because you've been there since the beginning. Is there a moment when you realized that the coaching process was actually changing things in your parish, and what began to look different there?
Wow, a moment. Gosh, there were many. We call them holy moments, to be honest. We call them holy moments.
I love that book too. So good.
But if I were to kind of say one example of something that we thought we were doing everything already, or tried everything, or stepped into many things, but was when we made an effort to redo our small groups. It was so amazing how many different things also changed at the parish at the same time. So we had a community of small groups for several years, to be quite honest, maybe 6 or 7 years. But we'd kind of plateaued at maybe 100, 120 people coming in and out. And then we learned more because we were exposed in depth, which can't get out of a book, right? In depth to the processes for building small groups and really committing to small groups. And we did that at a parallel time with really with prioritizing our ministry. Because to be honest, to have a large small group community for us at the time, and to have at that time like 100 plus ministries, if there's a point at which you have to set some priorities. Not that the ministries weren't important, but that we realized that we were calling things ministries that weren't ministries, we were programs that weren't whatever so we, at the same time, because we don't try one thing at a time, we realigned our ministries and rebooted our small groups. But we rebooted our small groups through the leadership training that and the small group workbooks that Rebuilt had shared on how to form true small group leaders. We created new content for small groups, and all of a sudden, within a year's time, we had quadrupled the number of people in small groups.
Whoa.
Because here's the difference. whatever way you do it, we made the true commitment to it. That I know we've heard it before, but it is true that parish of small groups versus a parish with small groups, it made all the difference in the world. And if I could just say one more thing about our small groups, that we saw longtime parishioners who said their faith had not taken off in the way it did through when they joined in a small group in years. We saw moms at our small group in our school, formed a small group, and they're still with it today. And so when we were able to form community for people in small groups, and then actually reformed it in some ministry, when we're in a relationship economy, we're in a relationship world. Everything we was toward trying to get people in a relationship with Jesus and share that relationship with Jesus in any way that our parish could provide that platform for them.
Gail, the fact that you quadrupled your small group members is incredible. You were already over 100 small group members, right? So this means now over 100 parishioners, probably closer to 500. So over 400 is probably closer to 500 parishioners engaged in small groups and truly connecting and living in relationship with Christ and one another.
Yeah, because we made it about them. We created the space. We made it easy we made the entry point easy for them. And we also built in all the hospitality standards had to go into our ministry and into our small groups. I would say that was the key, is that hospitality outlook just pervaded the parish, and everything else was able to be connected.
Now, talk to us about, so you committed. That was one of the steps you took that really made that difference in small groups. But then where did your coach come into play there? How was having a coach helpful with small groups?
Two things. Well, first off, the two amazing coaches. And, I can't say enough about now. I get to look across when we have Rebuilt meetings, and I'm like, I'm at the same table with them because they did so much for us. And so what they did was they helped us to troubleshoot some of the obstacles, because Nativity had been through that before. And to be honest, the main thing I think you get from a coach is that active listener who helps you who are going through the same thing with your team talk about it in a new way and hear and see things in a new way. And this may be cliche, but what we thought were like, we haven't done this yet. They really turned our thinking into the positive, right? You can get mired in parish work,
right?
As beautiful as we know, where we're trying to create experiences for people, it's hard work, and we can get stuck sometimes in our own dismay that we're not moving fast enough, or that we don't have enough resources or whatever. But they kept us seeing open doors, and I think more than any one piece of advice was for them to help us connect little wins to make big wins. And when we decided to have the summer school for small group leaders to learn to be small groups in the fall, they were just so encouraging with every single step. And you just can't get enough of that.
Our 2025 Rebuilt Conference was beyond all that we could ask or imagine. There were over 700 attendees from around the globe who came together to be inspired, encouraged, and equipped. This conference was created for parish leaders and diocese teams who are ready to transform and renew their communities. Did you join us? Did you learn new ideas, ways to strengthen your mission? Are you ready to join again or for the first time? Save the date. May 2nd through May 4th, 2027, the Rebuilt Conference is returning to Timonium, Maryland. This gathering is more than a conference. It is an opportunity to come together with pastors and parish leaders from around the world who are committed to building healthy, growing, mission-driven parishes. For now, save the date, May 2nd to May 4th, 2027, at Church of the Nativity in Timonium, Maryland. Details and registration will be coming in months ahead, so stay tuned. We cannot wait to welcome you.
So good. So you had your coaches walking alongside you with this. And then one of the other great things about coaching is that when you're in coaching, you also get to take place in some live courses as well. So you had your coaches walking alongside you with that, but then you also had the course to help guide you. Can you just share a little bit about what that was like?
Sure. And, I will say, having been with Rebuilt since they began the Rebuilt coaching and the Rebuilt courses, those have evolved where I wish you had had foundations when we started.
Right.
I mean, it was called different, but I recently had to redo Equip Foundations to be part of the coaching team. And oh my gosh, how deep it goes and all of the principles so you could kind of figure out where you want to start as a parish. But I will say that the key to all the things I just talked about was when we did the leadership course, because our outlook on leadership, we had a lot of good leaders in our parish, and the parish is now 65, 68 years old, something like that. We had a lot of good leaders who have been there from the beginning, who have been there in the recent years. But now we began to see our leaders a little bit differently. We began to see that we had layers of leaders that we hadn't even identified. And we began to appreciate our leaders more, and we began to form our leaders. And I am a big proponent of forming leaders spiritually to see if they're also in the right place for that. So I would say the leadership course made a big difference for small groups, for ministry, for our next gen, for everything that we've approached, the leadership. And here's the tactic that Rebuilt does that I figured out now that I'm on this side. You sprinkle that in, you sprinkle leadership into every single course because it's that important. And so you can't learn enough about how to identify, but also love the leaders of your parish and bring them into the mission and the vision. And if I could say that leadership starts with the pastor, and our pastors have been blown away. The ones who've really embraced the priests who've had opportunity to really go deeper in the Rebuilt content and the relationships that it builds. They have really been some of the ones who have, it's been so refreshing to have them go side by side and say that they want to learn. They want to learn too.
For sure. Gail, I'm so glad that you shared that in all of these courses, leadership is kind of sprinkled in there throughout. And it goes back to, if you think back to some of those leadership courses, that everything rises and falls on leadership. We talk about that all the time.
Absolutely.
And it's just such a great reminder, no matter what the course is. It could be finance and stewardship. It could be small groups. It could be foundations. But leadership is talked about everywhere because that, without a strong foundation of a solid leadership team, everything else is going to be that much harder.
But it also is, again, it's the well thought out idea that every one of the courses you may take kind of builds on each other. They may look like they're equal peer courses, next gen versus this is all that. Oh, I'm forming my catechist team or I'm forming my small group. But look for the things that are common, and you can see how you can build systems that help every corner of your parish.
So, Gail, would you say that your parish was able to make strides faster working side by side with coaching versus what you would have been able to do on your own?
I do think so, because particularly when after the first couple of courses, we decided to bring others in from the parish staff, right? And I think that was really the important thing, because if it sits in the hearts and minds and notebooks of just a couple of people on the parish, it really takes a longer time for everyone else to participate. And what you really want on your parish staff is for everyone to be on the same page, right? To be aligned and all moving in the same direction. And to be honest, to be your messengers. If everybody is all speaking from the same heart of what we want for our parish, those who are new to the parish, those who are longtime ministers to the parish that you might be trying to have them help you in new roles, they can better be brought along. And so that for us made the difference, to be honest, is when we expanded beyond one or two, like myself and the pastor being in courses in the beginning, we were able to bring in other members of our parish staff. And then we also were able to bring the content and the teaching and the, action items to everybody else. That made the big difference. Absolutely.
I agree with you, because then they're not hearing it secondhand either. They're getting to hear it firsthand. And then whatever questions they've got, they can ask whoever is teaching the course too.
Yeah. And I would say on my part, I wish I'd done that quicker. But once we did, it just opened up a lot more.
Yeah. So I feel the same way. Now, Gail, talk to us now about this shift. You now get to be on the other side of the screen. You get to be helping parishes. So talk to us a little bit about that transition. What was that like?
Well, I when I first talked to the executive team at Rebuilt, I believe I used this term. I'd never thought of it before, but I felt like I was a disciple of Rebuilt in many ways. I had the faith, but I really was learning every step of the way, even when I was trying things and I was having wins. And so having been in almost every course, I think there may have been one because it didn't quite fit with my schedule, having gone through every course, having taken so much advantage of all the content library, going to all the conferences. And then I really loved the idea of we are trying to take that mission of making disciples from parish to parish to parish. To be a rebuilt parish means you're one of many parishes. And the idea of if I can in some way make my avocation to do some of that, it can really be personally rewarding. Maybe it was a little selfish. I do remember how much fun it was and how rewarding it was when I was asked to, in the coaching, if there's a parish that's doing something well that another parish can learn from, they'll connect you. They'll connect parish to parish. You don't have to all be coaches and instructors and official members of the team. They connect the parishes. So the parishes are working with each other wherever Rebuilt can see a way for them to encourage and help each other. And I remember doing that early on in some of our Rebuilt experiences. And our pastor was called to work with other pastors. And that was very rewarding too. And it helps you to feel good about yourself, right? Feel good about maybe not yourself, but your parish work and look at it and say, if I'm going to show somebody else what to do, I better figure out what's working well here and all that. And, then I was asked to be on a couple panels and so every more I get to kind of see behind the scenes. And I was like, if there's a way that I can help other parishes and a way I can keep learning, okay, that's really been important to me. Definitely. To keep learning. In this next phase of being a minister to the church, maybe this is something I can try to be a help and try to grow from and get to know other parishes and help them feel that they are making a difference in their local communities.
Definitely.
So that was part of the transition. Plus, I love working in developing leaders. There's nothing quite like from my early professional career when you take an intern and then you see them now they're managing. When you take people who are hungry to learn and you can see them grow and you just step back and you just watch them blossom. Wow.
Yeah.
that is something that I know is the fruit of Rebuilt because I experienced it and I know I can start to see it in others as well.
Incredible. And Gail, I want us to share something because I hope that parishes out there listening aren't saying, does Rebuilt steal people from parishes? Like if we come into Rebuilt coaching, Melissa and Gail were both in parishes. Do they steal the people? Can you please debunk that myth so they don't think that we were stolen from parishes?
Oh, absolutely. I absolutely not. I think what I said earlier is that they, I think the key word with Rebuilt is partner. And with parishes, everybody's considered a partner in some way, so we can help other parishes. But there can come a time, and then it happened for both of us, right, professionally, where our calling, maybe even our personal needs with our families and stuff, said let's try something different, and that's what happened here. And no, it doesn't. I don't recall being stolen whatsoever. But I think what they do is they do see, and I've seen it at other parishes, people that I want to connect with other parishes, and that's what the Rebuilt Network it does so well. And, no, I don't think we're stealing people. We're growing people to help other people. So.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Now, Gail, I would love to hear from your perspective. Now that you get to be a coach, what's your favorite part about coaching and helping these other parishes?
Recently, I was supposed to be me and another coach, onboarding, a new relatively new parish, and, other coaches couldn't come for some reason. And the pastor's, administrative person couldn't come for some reason. And, just schedules are what they are. So it ended up being me and the pastor. And, I just, listening to his story and his heart and his desire, that really fills you up as a coach. And then to be able to think, well, maybe there's a way I can share some things with them. And there's certainly a way that all that Rebuilt has, the deep and the wide capacity to help parishes go in that direction. But I remember the pastor saying, we weren't ready for this yet. Okay. And so I asked him, well, what have you already done in that direction? And then afterward, I said, do you know that is exactly, you need this, and you've already done that. And you just need to add this and that. So I was able to do a little bit of micro coaching. I was able to show him how fertile ground he had created for the rebuilt experience that he so desires, for his parish. And so long story short is, I think there's a lot of wonderful things. I know there's a lot of wonderful things going on at our parish. And sometimes it's just really challenging with all the obstacles in front of us, whether it's the resources, obstacles, the world around us, obstacles, but because they have the right heart, because they've actually asked the question, it's rebuilt right for me, that shows there's something there. There's something they want to do for their parishes. And so for me, coaching is really being able to help them do what Rebuilt coaching did for me and my parish, for them to grow as a leader and for them to bring that to their parish, I like that word, deconstruct what they're already doing, to see what is good to work from and set aside maybe some things that aren't quite, maybe they thought it was the best thing they did 5 years ago. And they actually come to realize that they need to change. They need to adapt. They need to grow in a certain way. And so, but watching that happen in my short time, it has been wonderful.
Easter changes everything. But the question for your parish is simple. Will inspiration turn into action? Our new 5-week Easter message series, Go, is designed to help you move your people from spectator to servant. Beginning on Easter Sunday, this series walks your parish through a clear invitation. Do good. Be sent. Step forward. Serve. Grow. Grounded in Scripture and built specifically for the Easter season in Year A, Go helps parishioners see that serving is not filling a role. It is living the resurrection. You'll receive 5 fully written, completely customizable homilies, plus coordinated small group discussion guides, so your entire parish moves in one direction. If you're ready to turn Easter momentum into volunteer engagement, it's time to go. Visit rebuiltparish.com/Easter to access the series today. Oh, that's incredible. And I think, Gail, something you said there is so important. Calling out what they've already done right, that's making this fertile ground for rebuilding. I think that's so encouraging.
It absolutely is. It's a lot of it is renewal, and it's rebuilding. It is not necessarily throwing everything out.
Right.
And thinking you have to start everything from scratch. And so if they can discover the wonderful things that give them the capacity to grow as a parish, that's, I think, what coaching is all about.
Oh, incredible. Now, Gail, for the pastors and parish staff who are listening right now, who feel the need for renewal but aren't sure where to begin, what would you say to them? How would you encourage them?
Well, we've had a lot of conversations about that in some of the onboarding, but also post conference, right? Like how does Rebuilt now reach out and continue that relationship with the parishes who may have come to the conference, maybe in the workshops on Wednesday, may have made an inquiry in some other way, and I think we need to make sure that they know about the relationships and the community that Rebuilt is, that they're not alone. And they're reaching out for a reason. I think there's some, maybe more marketing that Rebuilt could do and are doing to let people know that it's not just the courses. The courses are that foundation, but Rebuilt is a community. And there are so many other ways that we as coaches and we as instructors in the material want to get to know your parishes, so we can help you discover which way you want to go. And really, the courses themselves, like I said, when we started, there was a different lineup, and courses now, I wish some of those had been available when I got started, because they really set the stage and the personal relationships and, the equip course and the leadership course. But then here's what's good about the equip courses. You get a taste of everything Rebuilt will be offering.
Yes.
From the equip course, and say, wow, that sounds really like me. That sounds really like what I want. And then the coaching jumps in and says, okay, you've heard these things.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you want to prioritize?
Yes.
And what we like to do is have the parishes, we're coaches, right? We're not jumping in and doing the work for them, but we do want to get to know them. And by getting to know them, we can better place them. So I really do strongly encourage the first course, which is, the equip course, if that works for them at that time. But here's what we do. Let's say we think you're deeper in already. We'll go over those foundations with you and jump right in, to, I don't want to say phase 2, because phase 1, you never, yeah. So, the other thing too, I know that Rebuilt is doing right now is really helping parishes prioritize which courses they want to take and when, Do you take message series now if you haven't done every member or minister? Do you take this now if whatever? But also, what do you need right now? What's important to you right now? And those conversations really help parishes figure that out. What direction do they want to go? But I also want to say, it's coaching, it's courses, it's content, it's the relationship with other parishes, it's the network. It's access at any time to any of those tools, but it's not just the tools. It's the people who want to help build each other up. It's really about building each other up.
Gail, I think you hit the nail on the head right there. There's all of these different tools, there's all of these different resources, but it's the people that really make the biggest difference. And, when we first started coaching, we were, before we ever signed up for coaching, we were using we had the content, we were looking at all the books, and we were like, where do we start? Which of these things do we do first? And it was just so refreshing having a coach walk us through, right? And say, okay, well, let's start with what's our low-hanging fruit. How can we start? And you shared it right there. You're not alone. You have people who know what they're doing to help you.
Oh, yeah. I remember our coaches were like, do you want to take this course or that course or this course or that course? And I was like, we can only take one course this semester. It's like, we need all of that. And then the more they got to know us, the more we got to share our dreams and our hopes and our challenges and even what's going on in our community. The more we told them that in the first couple sessions, the more they got us aligned to which courses might make sense right now. And then when they broadened it to some of our other staff members, it really, really made a big difference for the parish. It really did.
That's incredible. Now, as we wrap up, Gail, there was a myth that we wanted to debunk in our conversation today, and it was that Rebuilt is out there trying to make little nativities out of every parish. Can you just talk about that for a second?
I was at the conference and we were talking with a couple other parishes who were there for conference, but that was their first exposure to Nativity and to Rebuilt, and of course they were like, "Wow." But I'm not sure I'm not sure our pastor will want to do it, or that we could ever have the resources to have this and that, or I don't think our people would come for that kind of music, right? So, we learned from the beginning that we love the concepts and ideas, but overall, really the mission that Rebuilt and Nativity are sharing. And at my parish and a couple other parishes, the story we would tell is that we learned to make the weekend experience important, but we're doing the weekend experience our own way for the people in our community. We can't do message series the same way you do, but we have a pretty big message series platform, and it works for us, and it's doing the same thing. And our small groups don't look like your small groups in a couple of different ways, but we are a parish that believes in many of the same steps. We have a discipleship path. We redid our mission, vision, and values, but you put them side by side with nativities, and you put a lot of them side by side, and they're all working toward the mission of the church, but they're all unique to the community. And one of the things we did is we brought our school into the whole program. I didn't share this earlier, but one of the things where the culture shift is happening and the buy-in is happening, and it's one church is when our Hispanic ministries were part of everything we did, and they are living the Rebuilt vision as much as any other part of our parish. And that was something that was a big step. So we made that one parish, all moving in the same direction, but the direction that was right for us in our community, with the ideas and things that we learned from Rebuilt. But we are not, and many parishes cannot be another nativity. There's only one nativity for that reason, and there's going to be one Sacred Heart and one Mary Magdalene and one St. Mary's and one Holy Cross. And so you get that shot at making it the Holy Cross that the Lord wants you to be for the people around you.
For sure. Gail, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing so authentically. Thank you for sharing your experience on both sides, on the parish side and then on the coaching side. And we're just so grateful that you get to now help so many other parishes make disciples based on everything that you've learned. So thank you.
Well, I feel I'm that disciple. I'm just getting started in this part of my journey, and I can't wait to keep learning and growing, and getting my joy from what I hear is happening at all these other parishes around the country.
Well, thank you, Gail, and thank you to our listeners. If you decide that you would like to learn more about parish coaching, you can reach out to Natalie or Bill, and that's Natalie@rebuiltparish.com or Bill@rebuiltparish.com. We'll have those in the show notes for you, and who knows, maybe Gail will be your coach.
Thank you, Melissa. It's great talking with you.
Great chatting with you, too. To all of our listeners, thank you, and we'll see you next time.